YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Cole Whip, and we are here with episode 9 of your no BS guide to the best guns inside of Modern Warfare Zombies. We have 4 more weapons to test out for you today, and as always, every gun in this series is tested and rated at epic rarity. And let's get into it after a quick word from this video's paid sponsor, Messy Modding. They're a Call of Duty service company. They'll go in and unlock camos for you, including Interstellar and Borealis. They have pre-made accounts, nuke services, schematics, and more. If this is your thing, check them out. There is a link in the description. Let's get right to it. We're kicking this off with the Ram 7. Quick edit, post edit, Cole Whip here. Thank you all for 2,000 subscribers, and Dan Whiffen for being that 2,000 sub. Thank you all so much. You are what make this channel absolutely amazing and keep me coming back each and every day. Thank you all so very much. This MW3 SMG has been in and out of the meta ever since the release of MWZ, so we're kind of taking a nice fresh look at it here as we are right at the end of Season 2 at the time of filming this particular gameplay. And kicking it right off with ammo capacity and mobility, I'm giving this gun a 5 out of 10 in this category, and here is why. You have 60 rounds in your magazine, you have 120 when you're pack-a-punch, and you have 360 rounds in reserve. That's it. Or 480 rounds to just shoot with mags of holding, as we did in this. The only thing that is redeeming this gun and keeping me from giving it a 2 or a 3 when it comes to ammo capacity, because this is a very fast firing weapon and you run out of ammunition very quickly and you have to manage your reserves. However, the only thing that's keeping that up into a 5 and just making this average is its mobility. It has excellent mobility getting around the map. It's one of my favorite guns. Very mobile, very good. We're going to give it a straight up 5 out of 10. Let's move on to crowd control. 8 out of 10 for crowd control. Now here's why. This gun is absolutely amazing at taking out the hordes of zombies. As you can see in this demonstration here, we just absolutely annihilate and rip through all of these zombies. The only reason I'm keeping this held back just a little from being a 9, 9.5, it's definitely not a 10, but the only thing really kind of holding that back a little bit, again, is that ammo capacity. It does become an issue with this gun. It fires so incredibly fast that if you're just constantly on the run from the zombies and you're not able to pick up the ammo caches, yeah, you're going to be in trouble. Let's move on to bosses. 7 out of 10 when it comes to bosses. Here's why we're kind of giving it this. It's going to do really strong damage against this Mega Abomination here. And we do not have Brain Rot or Napalm, so we're getting a pretty good true look at what the base gun is able to do against this Bounty Mega. When we're hitting the criticals, we're taking really good damage out of him. Where the gun, again, is held back is by that ammo capacity. If you're fighting crowds of zombies as well as your Bounty, you're going to find yourself in a little bit of world of hurt, and disciples are very difficult to fight with this gun, again, mainly because of that ammo capacity and the fire rate and just how fast you go through everything. But yeah, that's it for this one. Let's go ahead, give you a build, and let's give this gun a final rating. 7 out of 10 for a final rating. Very solid weapon across the board. Definitely one of the better guns to use inside of MWZ. The build is up on screen that we used in this gameplay. If you'd like to try it out for yourself, let's go ahead. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have an SMG from MW2, the ISO 45. With this particular weapon, it is extremely fast and mobile. The fire rate is kind of moderate, but nonetheless, it is very mobile SMG. We're going to give this gun a 10 out of 10. This is an easy decision. You have 90 rounds in your magazine, 675 rounds in reserve, or you have 765 rounds to just fire away with the mags holding. An easy 10 out of 10. Excellent ammo capacity and is never going to cause you any issues whatsoever. Let's see how it does on crowd control. 6 out of 10 on crowd control, and the reason why is I believe this weapon recently caught a nerf. I've used this gun before, and I even made a video on it. It was one of my favorite weapons inside of the entire game. It was an extremely powerful weapon, but I have noticed that during this gameplay, it just wasn't performing up to the standards that it was previously. Now, this is an Elder Sigil here that we're in, so of course the zombies are a little bit stronger in this one, and we're playing with a squad here. But nonetheless, this gun definitely caught a little bit of a nerf, and it's definitely a very good and solid choice. Of course, that's why I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I would recommend it, but that's really about it. Let's move on, see how it does against bosses. 6 out of 10 as well against bosses, and as I stated, you're going to see here, we're not doing amazing damage to this Mega Abomination by any means, and we're hitting those critical shots. We're taking some damage, and we're definitely going to get the job done, but I'm pretty sure that this gun did indeed catch a nerf which is really unfortunate because this gun was an absolute ton of fun. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to the build and the final rating. I'm going to bump it up a little bit. 6.5 is an overall final rating. It's still a very solid and very viable gun that you can use inside of MWZ, and I would definitely recommend trying it out. It's not the weakest gun, it's not the strongest gun, and it is a lot of fun. It's good in its own unique ways. The build is up on screen. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to the Lockwood 680, one of my personal favorites. Oh, do I miss this gun. One of the absolute meta guns of the entire first season of MWZ, the Lockwood 680. It's an MW3 shotgun. Now, I would only suggest you run this gun with mags of holding. The gun did receive some nerfs a while back, and it kind of knocked it off of the King of the Hill. But if you're running it with mags of holding, you can overcome a lot of those nerfs. So I would definitely suggest just running with that. You have 170 rounds to just fire. It's pretty mobile for a shotgun build as long as you build it for mobility. You absolutely have to build it with the slug round attachment on it as well. So that is an absolute essential. But we're going to give this an 8 out of 10 when it comes to ammo and mobility if you're using mags of holding. Only if you're using mags of holding. I would not rate it at an 8 without mags of holding. So just make that perfectly clear, and let's see how it does against these crowds of zombies. All right, crowd control 7 out of 10, and I'm rating that based on the majority of the player base. Shotguns are pretty niche, and they're even niche inside of zombies themselves. As you can see, we can absolutely take out these hordes. You do got to aim high. You need to hit those critical shots. And once you have dead shot daiquiri applied to this weapon, it's absolutely amazing. You can one-shot the armored zombies if you hit the headshot, and you're hitting a majority of slugs to the head as long as you have dead shot, and of course that you are triple packed as well. And legendary, that would be necessary. With epic, it's always going to be a 2. But nonetheless, very solid weapon, but I think for the majority of people, 7 out of 10 is a very good rating for it. Okay, bosses, 7 out of 10. It is still extremely strong against bosses. As you can see, we have brain right here, so it's not being impeded in any way. But as long as you're hitting critical shots, yeah, it can take out the bosses just as fast. Bosses is where it caught its major nerf when the gun did get nerfed. So it's not as good as it once was against the bosses, but still an incredibly fun gun to use. And real quick, if you're enjoying this video, please consider dropping a like on it. It's the best thing that you can do to help me out as a content creator. Just smash that like button, help push these videos forward and get them in front of more and more people to help this channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't subbed, please do so. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss a video. And let's go ahead. Let's get into the build and the final rating for this Lockwood. All right, 7.5 for the final rating. Still an incredibly fun and incredibly powerful gun to use inside of MWZ. Just run it with the mags of holding. And if you have a legendary tool, even better for this weapon. The build that we use up on screen is the same build that I used all through season 1. The most important thing is those 12 gauge slugs. Make sure those are on there. We have one more weapon for you, the PDSW, the good old fashioned P90. Let's go. Perhaps one of the most nostalgia-inducing weapons. It's an MW2 SMG. It's the PDSW 528, better known as the P90. And this gun is absolutely incredible. I am giving this gun a 9 out of 10 when it comes to ammo capacity and mobility. The ammo capacity is off the charts. When you're pack-a-punch, you have 400 rounds in your magazine and 400 rounds in reserve. It's almost like a built-in mags of holding. Absolutely incredible. Very mobile as well. I did run into some ammo issues here and there with the weapon, kind of unexpectedly. Just, I'm running out of ammo, and I think maybe that's because you're not reloading as much. But I don't know. I can't really explain it. We were running out of ammo. It's an extremely fast firing weapon. That is also playing a factor in that as well. Nonetheless, super powerful. Let's see how it does against crowds. 7 out of 10 for its crowd control abilities. A very solid weapon. You definitely need to hit those critical shots, hit those headshots on the zombies. It's really going to help you out. That ammo capacity really does go a long way to help you just take out more and more zombies as you go. We really didn't have any trouble controlling the hordes. I've had guns that kill faster, but nonetheless, excellent weapon. Let's see how it does against bosses. I'm going to roll with a 7 out of 10 for bosses as well. Definitely better than a lot of weapons, but still mediocre-ish. But I'm sure the gun does also get a whole lot better once you put a legendary ether tool on it, no doubt in my mind. And if we were fighting this disciple and we had the dead wire, of course, that would make things even that much easier. But nonetheless, we got this disciple killed. Not really any issues whatsoever. Just took a little bit longer, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Super powerful, super fun gun to use. Let's move on to the build and the final rating for the P90. Okay, 8 out of 10 for a final rating. I'm gonna round up because I really did enjoy this weapon, and it only has more potential with the right ammo mods and with a legendary ether tool. The build is up on screen that I would recommend using for this P90. It's not the build that we used in the gameplay that we showcased, basically because we had a crash and things happened, whatever, and I just didn't put the right build on. We just used a blueprint, but nonetheless, this is the build that I would recommend running if you would like to run it for yourself. It is an absolute ton of fun. And that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. On screen is all the weapons we tested in this video and the final ratings that we gave everything. If you enjoyed the content at all, please consider dropping a like, hit that sub button, turn on those notifications. If you'd like to join our Discord as well, it's down in the description. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is Cole Whip, and I'm out.